Hey everyone, my name is Vince Palco from GPRS, and we're back for another safety chat. Super excited to have a special guest today. He's new to the organization, but it's all around safety, right? Our number one value that we provide our customers, and he's our point person for that. He's our EHS manager. This is Keith Collett that we have on the line. Keith, say hello.
How's it going, everybody?
Really appreciate time taken out that of your schedule today to chat with us on Safety Chat about safety. So really pumped to have you on the line. And so maybe just a little bit about your background, where you come from, and what you're all about, and we'll get the conversation started there.
Yeah, sure thing. I'm 37 years old. I have a wife named Brittany. We have two children, Rocco, he's 6 years old, and Karis, who is 16 months. And she's a handful, but she's a ton of fun, and she's probably the cutest little girl you've ever seen in your life. I'm not biased, I promise. But yeah, I grew up in a construction family, really. Started my great-grandfather, my grandpa Fay, who, side note, ended up living till he's 104 years old.
Nice.
Yeah, it's crazy. He had a construction business, though. That's what he did for a living. He owned a construction business, and so my dad, my grandpa, my dad, my uncles, my cousins, lots of people in my family are all in the construction industry. In fact, most of them are union iron workers up out of Detroit, Michigan. And yeah, that's a little bit about my background in terms of like my family history and sort of where I come from. I've been in the construction industry really my whole life, as long as I can remember.
Share with the audience that story that kind of, I think you're a young man, 14 years old, in your indoctrination into the construction field. That would be a great story to share.
Yeah. So I was 14 years old. It was one summer, and my dad was like, "Hey, you're coming to work with me this summer." And I was like, "Okay." I actually was really excited because I was like, "Well, I'm going to be making some money. I'm only 14." I thought that was really cool. And so I remember the first day I go to work, go to this job site, and mind you, at this point in my life, I was like the shortest kid in school. So I was like the smallest kid in my class. I'm going to this job site and 14 years old, barely, 4'11" or something like that. And they had me strap on this huge tool belt with all kinds of, tools, probably weighed 50 pounds or more, which was about half of what I weighed at the time. And then my dad basically, he goes, "Hey, get on that crane ball over there." And he has me jump on the headache ball. Mind you, this is 25 years ago or more. Has me jump on the headache ball of this crane, and the crane then swings me up to the iron, and he goes, "Get out on the iron," and he has me get out onto the steel, and I am scared half to death. I have to get out onto the iron, my bottom feet on the bottom flange, I'm gripping the top flange and holding on for dear life, and I'm just like, I can't even imagine what I must have looked like in that moment. But then my dad and his whole gang from the ground level just start screaming at me like, "What are you doing?" And apparently I was being hazed and welcomed to the industry. So that was my introduction to the construction industry, was going through all of that. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, would you say that's kind of a safe thing to do, is like get up on that thing and thrust into the air? How ironic that our head of safety is this first thought of construction goes to that point.
Yeah, that's I don't advise anybody to do any of what I just said. That is before safety was making a huge thrust, obviously, in the industry. And yeah, there was everything wrong with that scenario, literally everything wrong with that scenario. So do not do anything that I just said by any means.
But it's a great story, and you lived through it. And so what was he trying to do by, putting you through all that and heckling you and hazing you and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so even before that and then after, my dad was constantly on me, just saying, "You don't want to do this." Like, he did not want me being a union iron worker. Like, he was always saying, "You do not want to do this. I don't want you doing this," over and over and over again. And so I think that introduction to construction that day was like his way of going, like, "I'm gonna scare the living crap out of this guy so he doesn't end up following in my footsteps here." And so I ended up getting into the Ironworkers Union out of high school naturally.
Of course.
Yeah, ended up listening to my, what's that?
You're not gonna listen to Pops. You're gonna do what
Right.
you want to do. Yeah.
This is my life. I'm gonna do what I want to do, Dad.
Right.
So initially didn't listen to him at all, and ended up getting into the Ironworkers Union, into the apprenticeship, and then eventually just began working on permit for several years, in that trade and doing ironwork. And then eventually I came to this point where that was always in my head. He put that in my head. It was always there. And so I came to this point where I was like, you know what? Yeah, I don't think I want to do this stuff, at least at this level. And so began exploring other industries, exploring other opportunities. And then I ended up landing back in the construction industry in a really unique opportunity. I was hired by a startup company, and initially just started as a laborer, and then the company it was between 3 and 4 years went from like 3.2 million to 30 million in a very short time. And so I just had this really cool opportunity to grow with the company. And so quickly I became a foreman and then a superintendent, and then got brought into the corporate office where I started sort of running operations, and doing project and safety management, wearing all kinds of different hats, and just growing with the company. And so it was really that was really the opportunity that I had to really dig my heels in and really get into the world of safety management, and really where I began developing a love for it and seeing opportunity in that field. And really where we had our main client at the time was General Motors. And if you've ever worked with General Motors, then you know that they have a very in-depth safety program, and what's required of subcontractors is very in-depth. And so I had to lead our growing company at the time into fully embracing and maintaining compliance at sites all across the country for General Motors. And so that's where I began to get my feet wet in the world of safety management.
Wow. And that's a pretty big company to get your feet wet with. So that's pretty amazing. Very cool. Okay, so let's talk GPRS. So you've been with the company for how long now?
I've been with the company now, this is my 5th week.
5th week. Very cool, very cool. So as you kind of begin to think of your role and how safety and everything encompasses what we do here and how we provide safety for our customers, let's talk about that. Let's talk about kind of either your vision or kind of what you see moving forward and how we're going to support our customers with safety, and we'll get the conversation going there.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, the one thing that really comes to mind when you bring that up is the story that Matt Aston, our founder and CEO, tells all the time. And I got a chance to hear that from him personally. I've heard it through the grapevine. I heard it from different people, and then had an opportunity to sit down with him and hear it from his own mouth just recently. And he tells a story of in the very beginning, before GPRS was ever even established, was ever a company, he's setting out trying to determine what it is he wants to do, and thinks maybe there's an opportunity to work for his dad's company. And his dad basically comes back to him and says, actually, I think you're supposed to start your own company. And and then Matt is trying to find, like, well, what would I do if I was going to start my own company? And basically the story goes that Matt's dad gives him a magazine, and in this magazine he comes across the equipment that we now use today. And it was at that moment when he sees this equipment and what it can do that he was taken back to these times working for his dad, where they would have major utility strikes and they would hit underground hazards. And Matt realized then that this is the solution to that problem, that this equipment, that GPR technology is the solution to this problem. And he's essentially identifying the problem to a safety hazard. And he finds that this equipment that is going to be literally the solution. And obviously, here we are today, 20 years later, the top GPR company in the nation, because of Matt identifying this essentially safety solution to multiple different industries' problems. And so that's something that really excited me even before coming on board, excites me even now. And, you know, we talk about here, and I'm learning more and more about it, but we talk about how we envision tomorrow with the capability of 100% subsurface damage prevention. And right now we're at 99.8%, but that's essentially, that's not good enough. We are striving for 100% subsurface damage prevention. And we have a little saying here, we say safety, always on our radar. And from the beginning of the company, that has been true. You know, from the time Matt grabbed that magazine, he saw the solution to that problem. It's literally always been on his radar. It's at the core of everything we do as a company. And so I'm really excited to work with the rest of the team here and to just to build on the incredible foundation that we already have, and to begin to strategize ways where we can impact our people, our customers, and our communities with safety solutions. And so that's what really gets me excited.
Nice. Awesome. When it comes to safety with our customers, obviously we've perfected the gold standard with SIM and the SIM process, and that's really been huge for just the industry alone, right? It's been revolutionizing how, you know, providers do this kind of work, and we're at the core of that too, which is really amazing from a safety standpoint. Yeah. Any thoughts on SIM or thoughts there as you're kind of learning and getting into your role and all that good stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, SIM in of itself is incredible. And then I'll say, in the way that we as a company have embraced and implemented SIM and made it our own and added to it, literally, you know, safety is a huge part of everything that SIM is as well. And so from the get-go, our guys are, every single person that works on every single one of our sites has this standardized, in-depth safety and quality training to perform their jobs, not only at the highest level, but at the highest level of safety as well. And yeah, it's absolutely incredible. I've had the opportunity to sit in some of the SIM 101 classes, some of the SIM 201 classes, as well as do some of the experiential parts of the learning, going in the field, going to different jobs, and learning right there along with some of our new hires here. And it has been extremely informative and super helpful for me as I'm understanding more and more of the details of what we do. So yeah, SIM is absolutely incredible. And I think that, honestly, I think that is one thing, the way we've embraced that is one thing that really does set us apart as a company.
Yeah. And what gets me excited is, you know, it's great to go in and help companies and do onesie twosie jobs, but when we're talking safety and we're talking being able to impact a lot of people in a big way, I'm really excited about these partnerships that are starting to form where, you know, we're speaking with directors and they're loving our stuff, and we're signing up partnerships with a lot of big construction companies, and that's what's really exciting. So we can kind of cast a bigger net with helping more people stay safe, and that's really exciting. So the company is moving and shaking in many different ways. So it's really fun to be on the journey with you and everyone else in the company. Any parting thoughts for our listeners and viewers out there?
I don't think so. I mean, it's been really fun just chatting about all of this. I look forward to do it in the future. The warm welcome to the company has been just incredible. I've heard such great things about GPRS before I ever started, and then to now be 5 weeks in and to have experienced, you know, the culture and the chemistry and the collaborative group of individuals has been really, really cool. And so I'm just really excited for what the future holds, not just for me personally, but for our team and for our company as a whole. It's really exciting.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
All right, let's do it. Keith, thanks so much for being with us today. Really, really appreciate your time. And if anyone has questions for Keith or myself, you can kind of put a message below this video. And we love feedback. We love comments and questions. We can get those out to you. And we can even create other videos that address some of those questions. So if you can take 5 minutes or 2 minutes and write in a question about kind of safety on the safety front or any front when it comes to GPRS, we'd really appreciate it. So on behalf of Keith and myself, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next Safety Chat.